Hi, folks, and welcome to their Saturday morning Samoflange. I'm Matt.
I'm Benjamin.
Hey.
Welcome to Saturday morning.
Yeah, welcome.
Best day of the week.
Good Saturday morning to you.
Good Saturday morning to you, sir.
Hope you brought your Fruit Loops. Or your tricks. No, wait, those are for kids.
No, they always cut the roof of your mouth.
Oh, man. I've been eating the Monster
when you
cereal?
ate the whole box of Fruit Loops and you're like, God, I hate these. But then you wait a week.
I haven't eaten Fruit Loops since I was a kid. Oh,
what?
Man. Top 5 cereals we haven't eaten since we were kids.
Bro, write it down.
Holy cow.
Write it down.
I'm not even playing.
Look, we got a new topic.
That's going to happen.
This is how it happens, ladies and gentlemen. We just let it roll right off the tongue.
I can write them
Top
all
5
up here.
cereals you haven't had since you were a kid. I guarantee you that the people listening to this have a top 5 list already written, and we want to hear about it in the comments. Right
yeah,
now.
I would love to.
Is that a cereal? Because I remember it was Captain Crunch, and you could only have maybe 2 or 3 bowls, and then you were like, I can't love it.
Anymore. Yeah.
I just can't eat anymore. It hurts. And even Family Guy made a joke about it. Like, I don't care what he says, my cereal does not cut the roof of your mouth. And
I already got a top 5.
You have it? Okay.
That's how quick it was. Because I remember the cereals I ate as a kid that I don't eat today.
See, it takes us that long to prepare the content, and then we just razzle-dazzle them for an hour.
We wing it for the rest.
That's all the preparation we put into it. You just saw the beginning, the middle, and the end of the whole preparation.
And then we pause to see how long you suckers will hang on to the podcast. I wanted you to know something, that is actually one of our favorite podcasts, by the way, a few weeks ago.
Just last week. No, it was a couple weeks ago. You're right.
Yeah, and
I have listened to that already at least 4 times.
Yeah.
Just the end of it.
It's pretty funny. I'll be honest. That was... We were having a lot of fun. So anyway...
Yeah.
But we're going to have a lot of fun. We did a Choose Your Own Adventure book a while back, and we thought about... Because there was some more that my dad had, Mom and Dad had. They were ours as kids.
Mm-hmm.
And you were listening to the first time we ran through it. And you said, that was a... Go ahead.
Just YouTube is weird. And like the
algorithm picked it up?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And so I listened to the most recent... I re-listened to the most episode that we just recorded. And then I just hit next, or it just picked up the next one. And it went to episode 2 of the 4-part book that we read of the Choose Your Own Adventure book. And I was like, okay, well, I don't think I've listened to this one back, or I haven't, at least since we recorded it, at least several months ago. And it was so funny. Like, I loved it. It was really great.
I had a blast all the way through those.
We were kicking the 80s references back and forth like they were hot potato. It was magnificent.
But when we were shooting, we were texting back and forth about ideas for upcoming episodes. And you said, hey, could we do another Choose? Because we had talked about this.
We talked about how
I said, let's give it a raw to breathe.
You had found several in your attic, and in the podcast, I had forgotten this, but I said, because I was looking in the front flap, and I thought that we had the first one, because the first one is called The Cave of Time. And that's episode 1, or book 1 of the Bantam series that spawned all of this. And it turns out it's not book 1. It is
50.
Book 50.
Which for their 50th book, they did
Return to the Cave of Time.
So we are returning. We've never been to it before, but we're returning back.
Either you're completely out of ideas at this point, and they're just rehashing it because they need the money, or...
I think it was an homage for their first book, and their 50th book was a milestone.
I think they probably saved a good one for the 50th.
I would hope so.
That's what I'm going for.
Now, here's the thing. I remember the first adventure book the best. And I kind of remembered...
What do you mean the first adventure?
The first one that we did?
Yes.
I remember that one the best of all the books we chose.
Really?
The one
I remember reading that one, though.
I don't remember this one. I don't remember The Spy for George Washington, which is another one that I had. And you
did.
And then Volcano,
like, history.
I remember,
we're not doing
only
that.
because I died on the very first choice I made. I was pissed. But that's all I remember from Volcano. I remember I died a lot on Volcano. But this one I have no idea about. I'm excited to do it. It is time. I've had fun doing these, and so we're going to do some Choose Your Own Adventure stuff, and we're going to die.
Well, absolutely. And the best part is we're going to die in November of 1985. That's the copyright for this one.
Oh, yes.
So what other good things happened in November of 1985?
Calvin and Hobbes was kicking it into high gear.
Calvin and Hobbes was in full blast. Back to the Future just come out.
Yep.
And we talked about that last time.
That's a very good year, 85.
Oh, 85 was a great year.
Because for me, 86 is one of my favorite years.
Michael Jackson's kicking around.
But that 84, 85, 86, that is, you can put a circle around that. That is the 80s.
November 1985.
That is the heart of the 80s.
November 5th, 1955. Isn't this the year that they go back to? The month and the year? No, it's 85. 55. It's 55. What am I, an idiot?
Well, that's 30 years later.
Shut up. And historical events in November 1985 on this day in history.
Oh, you're looking at the history.
I know. Nostalgia television begins on cable.
Wait, are we going through the cave of time to find this out?
Yeah, we should.
Okay, keep going.
So I'm just looking for something good. The LA
What
Kings were the hockey champions.
Really? Gretzky was on? No, he was before Gretzky.
No, that was the Kings. Let's see. He played for the Edmonton, right? Let's see. That's nonsensical. Who cares about that? Bill Elliott, the race car driver. That was a big deal at the time.
Yeah.
Lucille Ball is a homeless woman. What is this? Oh, Space Shuttle Mission Challenger lands at Edwards Air Force Base. This is the worst website I could possibly find on a live.
So things sucked in 85 in
Apparently,
November.
it was just kind of boring, but...
I'll tell you this. It was the Christmas of 85 that I got my first pack of baseball cards.
How do you remember that?
1985
How do you remember that?
All-Star cards. And then the very next year in 1986, we got a big old box of 86 tops. And it was like getting 36 individual presents. We opened up each pack of cards.
Did they wrap them individually?
Well, the packs come. The whole box has 36 packs, but Dad bought us each a box of cards, and that was the best present.
Wow.
That was some of the most fun we ever had. But before that, he had bought us a little pack of, it was all the same. We all had the same cards. They were just a pack of All-Stars. And so we each had a great card, and it was the All-Star. It was the 1985 All-Stars. And that's what kind of got us into baseball cards. Because after that, we were kind of interested in it. We kind of traded around them. So Dad was really happy. So the next year, he gave us each a box of baseball cards. But that was my present for 85, I remember.
Fantastic.
So Dad was probably shopping and buying that in November. Maybe. Well, no, never mind. Dad's last minute. He bought that Christmas Eve right before the store closed.
Like that's something I've always said is that, and this is a little bit sexist to say, but I think it's true, is that there are never more men at the mall at any time of the year except December 24th is the day that there's almost always going to be more men at the mall shopping, like with a panicked look on their face. They're all just sort of like, what do I do?
The earliest that this is a question here. The earliest that you have gone and gotten all your shopping done, because the latest has obviously been Christmas Eve.
Clearly.
Okay.
Or
what's the earliest?
Christmas Day. Like, you don't know. Maybe.
I've done Christmas Day too.
Walgreens.
I went to Walgreens and got my nephew's presents on that little toy aisle because I forgot about them.
Does your nephew know about this?
No.
Do they listen to
They
this
were
podcast?
kids back then, but the thing is, there were only two of them, and I'd forgotten about them, and I was like, "Oh crap! I need to get
I
them
forgot
toys."
there's new people in my family.
So I went to Walgreens and went down the toy aisle and bought 2 action figures or something like that. I can't remember what I bought.
Muscle Men.
But it was at no, I would have.
I would have bought
but
that for
myself. But it was at
myself.
Walgreens because it was the only thing that was open at the time.
Oh my gosh!
And the earliest I've ever done it is September.
September.
Everything was finished. Got everyone's stuff because I just knew exactly what everyone wanted. I got it all ahead of time, and it was done. It was the best feeling in the world. Like when usually people wait till after Thanksgiving, that Black Friday weekend, to start shopping.
You said best feeling in the world, but you've only done it the once in your entire life.
That's
because now you don't,
the earliest.
You
not
don't know
average.
what everybody needs or wants. Or
On an average, I am done.
You haven't been inspired yet.
By or shortly after Black Friday. I'm done in November now. Every year.
Right.
October,
nobody cares about our shopping habits.
No, I'm just saying. Just once. What about you?
I don't know. I don't track these things. I always buy stuff at the last minute like anybody else.
Return to the Cave of Time.
I'm going to return to the Cave of Time.
Is this the Cave of Wonders like Aladdin?
The Cave of Wonders, my slumber.
There you go.
Yes, so Return to the Cave of Time by Edward Packard. This is Choose Your Own Adventure book number 50. You are the star of the story. Choose from 16 possible endings.
Ooh.
How many endings did we have last time?
Oh,
I remember we had about
a billion.
We had 3 that we were happy about. You remember?
Were there 3 happy endings? I remember going back in time.
You went back in time. You got to be Merlin, and you ruled the world.
The future one was kind of like you don't really
all the
win
future
or
one
lose.
was trash. Like we were
future
terrible.
Was trash, and the fantasy world. We did get a good ending out of it.
We got one other good ending and everything else, but there were like two.
I think the best ending was being king.
No, I totally agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
good to be king.
It's good to be the king.
Hell of the king, baby.
We definitely agreed to that.
Yeah.
So what I did like about this, the back flap of this one, says, "At last you have decided to return to the cave of time you discovered long ago.
Oh, geez,
You
I don't
struggle
remember
through
this.
the tunnel and to entrance until you reach a dimly lit chamber filled with eerie voices. Inside is a ghost-like figure, the Oracle of Time. He offers you an amazing choice to witness either the beginning or the end of time." Now, this was the argument we had in the last book because of past,
where did we go?
future, and never.
Never.
And I said I wanted to go to the future, and all of the future was bad. It was terrible. It was
Future's
bad
terrible.
idea.
It was like Terminator.
It was, yeah.
You know,
like stuff.
Skynet was taking over. There's no way to win.
There was nothing happening.
There literally was no way to win that.
No, it was Sarah Connor.
We went through every single scenario. And
You got
everything was
really
sad.
jaded. Like, no wonder Sarah was so angry in terms of
I'm
those
telling
movies,
you,
right?
come with me if you want to live.
If you want to see the beginning of time, turn to page 11. If you want to see the end of time, turn to page 17. This is the setup for it.
Preface?
This is still on the back of the on the back.
You're reading chapter 1.
No, listen, it's great. But
Why
beware.
did we go to the beginning? Why did we go to the Cave of Time again? Didn't we
The
learn
cave
much?
of time is treacherous. You may end up cast adrift by the mutiny after the mutiny on the Bounty, which I liked because do you know about the mutiny on the Bounty?
Yeah, I know
HMS
Beastie
Bounty?
Boys sang about it.
Oh Lord! Eaten by a saber-toothed tiger, or trapped in a futuristic coffin, and you may find yourself in the strangest time adventure of all, living 5 minutes ahead of everyone else.
Well, I'm glad we're so stupid that we went back into this dangerous cave. This is a great idea. What a bunch of... We have to play the role of a moron.
So the beauty of it is that the people who have listened to this podcast and your other shows that you have are so sick to death probably about hearing about time stories. And yet we finally wrapped it up. And yet here we are again talking about going backwards and forwards in time.
You know, speaking of
It's
time
just
stories...
something. Let's go on. Yeah.
We got another time story here.
Hey! Literally a time story. So anyway, that's
Wait, should I get the dice? So we're going to have to roll for challenges here?
We have endorsements by 11-year-olds and 13-year-olds in the front flap. Oh, yeah.
No.
Choose Your Own Adventure is the best thing that's come along since books themselves. Alicia Beyer, age 11.
Well, Lisa Beyer, that was a moronic quote. They put that in there to make fun of you, little girl. Hold on. If she's 11, how old is she now?
We're not doing math on this podcast.
Okay.
This is
56. She's old now. Wouldn't she be 56 now?
So yes, book number 1 would be The Cave of Time. Book 50, Return to the Cave of Time. And at this point, in November of 85, there were 60 of these published. So, and this book
She'd be like 50 or something.
It's interesting because it's not, the price isn't printed in US dollars, but on the back it says Australia, $2.95. New Zealand, $4.95. Like, what? New Zealand was that pricey even back in 19...
I guess.
Whatever.
The little... Were there any other quotes?
Oh, yeah, there were, but you don't want to hear them because I don't want to hear you make fun of children and get banned.
They're not children anymore.
You're right. They're adults. And,
they're 50. They got to be at least 50.
Like, they're probably really upset.
What, that I'm making fun of their quotes?
Oh, wow. This
What?
is interesting special thanks. With special thanks to Anne Bailey, who supplied the slave ship sequence in this book.
Oh, we're going to get canceled.
There is a slave ship in this book.
I'm glad there's a slave ship reference.
Maybe we shouldn't read this.
Is Boba Fett in this?
Slave 1.
Sold. Now we're talking.
So here's our all caps warning. Do not read this all the way through.
No dick,
Don't
Sherlock.
turn the pages the way you're supposed to.
No.
Like in a normal book.
But don't feed your gremlin after midnight.
Don't feed the trolls.
Feed the trolls.
But
don't cross the streams.
Lots of good don'ts in movies.
Lots of good don'ts.
Your heart races as you make your way through Snake Canyon, looking for the entrance to the Cave of Time. Although it's a sunny summer day, you're wearing a warm sweater under all of your weather parka, as well as wool socks and pants. I don't know. You don't know where you'll turn up once you've entered the cave, but you want to be ready for anything. So you've gone prepared for an adventure because you've been there before.
Got it.
And apparently you survived. Finally, you reach the familiar grove of pine trees, but your hopes fade as you realize that the landslides have covered the cave's main entrance. Determined not to give up, you search the floor to the canyon until you find, hidden behind clumps of sage, another barely passable entrance. Clawing on hands and knees, you enter into a tunnel that, judging by its direction, should lead to the main chamber. The tunnel seems endless and keeps curving to one side as if it might be going around in a circle. After half an hour of crawling, you feel a tightening of the muscles in your throat, the beginning of panic. There's not enough room to turn around. You're not even sure you can turn back out. Oh no! Turn to page 3. Okay, so right away, we've got a wild illustration of some giant Merlin thing on a throne.
This dude's face is as big as half of our body.
It looks like the guy who was
He's
the
a
dude with the
stretched-out
big
dude.
beard in the labyrinth. You know, he had the big beard and then he had the bird on top of his head. Said,
Oh,
please
yeah,
put a
yeah,
little
yeah,
coin
yeah,
in the
yeah.
little box. Or
Yeah.
whatever, that guy.
Yeah,
That's
a
who
little
we're
bit of
looking
that.
Painfully, you crawl on around the bend to the right and then one to the left. Somewhere up ahead, a voice is chanting, or is it many voices singing in unison? There's an eerie tune with only 3 or 4 notes. A moment later, you reach a dimly lighted chamber. A thin, ghost-like figure abruptly stops singing and looks at you intently. You can hardly find words, but, as if to answer your question before you ask it, this strange man, if he is a man, says, "You have found the Oracle of Time." You are amazed to meet anyone in the cave, much less an oracle. For a moment you are afraid, but as you look more carefully at the oracle, you can't help but smile. His expression is kindly and wise, but there is also a playful, impish look on his eyes. You realize he may be able to tell you some of the things you've wondered about. What is time, you ask? This is the first thing you ask the oracle, what is time? The oracle is silent for a moment, but then answers in a firm voice. Time is what keeps everything from happening at once. When did time start, you ask? And when will it end? Would you like to see? You gulp in amazement. Sure. What then? The beginning or the end? If you say you want to see the beginning of time, turn to page 11. If you want to see the end of time, turn to page 17.
Okay.
Page 3 is where we are.
We're on page 3, and the choices are...
We're talking to the oracle, who's
Page
asking us
11.
if we want to see the beginning of time at page 11 or the end of time at page 17.
Is that the end of the book, page 17? Then it's a lie. Okay, anyway. Okay, where do you want to go?
Wouldn't that be funny if page 17 is literally like a death, like a horrible death? Did you watch Loki on Marvel?
Yes,
Like,
yes, I did.
That's the plot point, right? They go to
Yeah.
the end of time and everything
Yeah.
else? Okay, it was good.
No, it was good.
It took a while for it to get good, but I did like it.
I
was upset that they pulled the Back to the Future Part 2 ending on me at the end. But, spoiler alert for Loki,
Yeah.
they're going to drop a Back to the Future Part 2 ending on you. But
Okay, so where do you want to go?
I don't know.
You go to the beginning? Well, should we start at the beginning? It's a very good place to start. You begin with the words do, re, mi. Okay, I'm going to stop.
I'm gonna let you finish, Taylor.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. Stop. Let's go back.
Dun, 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 dun.
Doe, a deer, a female deer.
I'd like to see the
Rain-
beginning, you say. You instantly find yourself floating, weightless, in totally black space.
Me?
You. There are no stars, or suns, or moons, or wisps of light.
Far, a long, long way to run. So, a needle showing thread. Far, a note to follow. So, tea, I drink with jam and bread. That will bring us back to down. Sorry, okay, let's do it.
Not a breath of air, no sound, no smell, no taste. No up or down or sideways, no motion, no feeling, nothing but silence. Then suddenly there's a point of light so brilliant it feels like pins driven into your eyeballs. Even before you can blink, the light expands like a million lightning bolts radiating in all directions. Your eyes shut, but the light is still painfully bright. As you move your hands to cover your eyes, you scream, but no sound comes. At the very same moment, darkness returns. Then, very slowly, your eyes begin to adjust to the dim light of your surroundings, and you realize you are once again in the chamber of the oracle. Turn to page 6. You are shaken by your experience, not eager to try something like that again, but you're more curious than ever about time. Tell me, you asked the oracle, did anything happen before time began, and could anything happen after time ends? Nothing can happen unless time is passing, the oracle answers. But things could happen in another time frame, outside our time. Then another time would be passing. You think for a moment, then ask, could I ever visit another time frame where another time is passing? It's possible, the oracle replies. The cave of time has passageways that lead to such places, places where you perceive others as they will be in their future, while they perceive you as you were in their past. By now your head is spinning. I think right now I'd just rather stay in our own time frame, you say. Very well, says the oracle with a smile. Which shall it be, future or the past? If you choose the future, turn to page 47. If you turn to the past, page 66.
Wait, we didn't go anywhere.
That's what I was just thinking. We just saw it. We just witnessed the birth of the beginning of time and then came back.
That was dumb.
And
okay,
now,
so what are the choices now?
Page 6 says, if you choose future, turn to page 47. If you choose past, 66. Now, this is a little different only just because we're not talking about the beginning of time.
You know what? That was a waste of time. We're still going back to the beginning. Give me the beginning.
Literally a waste of time.
That was.
40.
I wonder if page 17 leads you back to page 6, which leads you to... It's almost like he's trying to hide the beginning of time from us.
So, this illustration we have is straight out of Time Stories with the Cassians that you crawl into whenever you start the beginning of each mission. Yeah, you get into a futuristic coffin that was previewed for you on the back flap.
Dude, if that old man's name is Bob, I'm leaving.
We're out, full circle. Out. This is not happening.
All right, so we're in the past.
We've played this game already and we beat it, and we don't want another bad ending.
Exactly.
You're lying in an open, silk-lined box. Is it a coffin? No. You're hooked up to a tube and wires, as if you were in a hospital, but you don't feel sick. You feel quite well. Very well, in fact, though you can't sit up. Something that you can't see is holding you down. You hear soothing chords of music. The room is bathed in dim light, which constantly shifts in hue from sky blue to yellow-green to red-orange to blue again. Moving your hand to your scalp, you feel tiny wires hooked into your head. It's the Matrix. They must be paralyzing your nerves so you can't move the muscles that could free you. Turn to page 52. Where are you? How did you get here? Suddenly you remember you traveled through the cave of time, and you must surely be at some point in the future. Did we choose?
The future? We choose the past.
That's what I said. We chose the past. Your situation is so weird that it must be far into the future. You seem to be in a long, cylindrical room, like the cabin of an enormous airplane, and there are coffins. You can't think of a better word for them. Like yours, with wires and tubes and other black tank-like shapes. Did the Wachowski brothers read this book before they wrote The Matrix?
Maybe so. They read this as kids.
The ceiling isn't... We already decided in the last book that J.K. read this before Harry Potter because of all the references.
This is where all
everyone
gets their inspiration.
Why do we come back
Choose
to this? Of course. Coffins like yours with wires and tubes and other black tank-like shapes. The ceiling is invisible because of what seems to be a dense fog that begins only a few feet over your head, as if you were in the middle of a weird dream. Yet you don't feel scared. Though held prisoner, you feel pleasurable sensations. Hey.
Future ain't that bad.
I mean, as if you were eating chocolate ice cream, while smelling bread baking, while hearing great music, while seeing a beautiful sunset, while getting a good back rub! Exclamation point.
I wish I could feel that good.
It's all the endorphins, man. I've never felt that good.
Wow, that's like all the senses there.
Whoever has captured you must have hooked a wire into the pleasure center of your brain. Suddenly, the music changes key. A robotic arm inserts a clear... This is too Matrix for me right now.
This is the future now.
The robotic arm inserts a clear plastic mask over your mouth. You start to gasp for breath, but then realize there's an oxygen mixture being fed into the mask. A moment later, your coffin tilts, sliding you into a tank of warm water that is moving rapidly, as if it were a swiftly flowing stream.
We're Neo.
Turn to page 68. Good grief.
Okay.
Instinctively, you start swimming against the current. At least with the oxygen mask, there's no problem breathing. You stroke and kick hard, glad to be exercising your muscles and relieving the tension of being held paralyzed. Your tubes and wires are all firmly in place, and your body is held by straps under your shoulders and around your waist. You're still in what amounts to be a swimming treadmill. So this is how people keep their muscles from wasting away, you think. Ingenious, but horrible. Everything is decided for you. You just go through the motions, but you have no choices. The people who rule this mad world must think they are providing the perfect life, but one would also think of it as a perfect prison. Turn to page 80. This just keeps going.
Okay.
Oh my gosh! Suddenly the current is flowing more swiftly. As you speed up your pace, you feel now pleasurable sensations. You feel new pleasurable sensations.
More chocolate ice cream?
Let's hope so. You swim faster and faster until even with almost pure oxygen flowing into your mask, you feel yourself reaching the limit of endurance. Then gradually the water level falls and you are left weightless, suspended in warm air currents that blow and swirl all about your body, drying you in just a few minutes. Gentle robotic arms lift you back into your coffin, and life, if that's what you call it, goes on as before. As you try to adjust to the reality that lies ahead, you are startled to hear a voice, which must be entering your head through one of the implanted wires. You have been identified as an alien intruder. Your bioanalysis shows an 87.37 probability that you understand English. Your brainwave reaction to the preceding statement shows 99.97 probability that you perceive English. Relax. You will not be harmed. Stand by for transport. A moment later, you pass out. Turn to page 108.
We're not really choosing our adventure
We are
here.
not at all choosing our own adventure.
108. All right.
When you regain your consciousness, you find yourself seated in a chair made of very strange material. Whenever you move, the chair adjusts itself so that, however you're sitting, it is modeled to your body, giving the most perfect and comfortable support. Now it's kind of like, what is the... Eve. What's the Pixar movie?
Well, we're the
with
people
the robots?
from Wall-E.
Wall-E.
Yeah. That's what we are here.
That's what's happening. The room you are in is much smaller than your living chamber, but the same hypnotic music is playing. Seated nearby is a woman who's... So wait, this book inspired Pixar too. Seated nearby is a woman whose body and face seem elongated as if she were an image in an amusement park mirror, yet she has a beautiful face, and her soft olive eyes have a warmth and kindness that surprise you. You are an alien of uncertain origin, she says gently. Our computer will determine how you got here and what is to be done with you. Who are you, and where am I, you ask? My name is Celeste 433, and I am your overseer. You are on Suprema 87, Colony 143, to the 5th power, Proxima Neptune, and you are very fortunate to be here. Though advanced technology, all problems have been solved, all needs taken care of. There's nothing for our people to do but to exist in a state of perpetual pleasure. You start to speak, but sharply focused. I know, I wanted to hurry up and keep reading before you could interject there.
Okay. More
you
ice
start
cream.
To speak, but the sharply
bread.
focused light beams at your face, increases in brightness for a moment, then fades as you decide not to say anything. On the next page, it says, Celeste 433 continues. This is 109 now, and we finally have another choice coming up. Good grief. This is the longest interlude we've ever had.
Yeah. Keep going.
Celeste 433 continues. Our monitors show that you are not completely happy in the supremely pleasurable life we have made possible for you. You must have had an irrational, rebellious quality in your personality, a quality acquired in your previous culture. This will cause difficulty. Therefore, I must ask you, will you accept your good fortune and have a life of continual pleasure? Or will your thoughts and actions become increasingly rebellious? Please answer truthfully. Our monitors will show if you are lying.
Okay.
No pressure. If you say that you will accept a life of perpetual pleasure, turn to page 7. If you refuse, turn to page 29. This is on 109.
All right, hold on. It's 109, and it's...
Perpetual pleasure is page 7.
Okay.
If you refuse, page 29.
Page 29?
We're going to 29, right?
No, we're going for the pleasure.
We're going
again.
for
We're
perpetual pleasure?
I want to be massaged while watching a sunset and listening to awesome... What's the awesome music we're listening to?
I don't know, ABBA?
Oh, jeez.
It's the Mamma Mia soundtrack, just on loop.
Yep, page 7. Let's do it. Because you know that's got to be a horrible ending if you choose pleasure.
It's gotta be, right?
Let's do it.
You decide that pleasure is what everyone spends his life seeking, and that if you're lucky enough to have handed it to you, you might as well take it. I'll accept a life of pleasure, you say. Even as you speak, you feel yourself passing out. Awake again, you find you lie back in your living chamber and try to enjoy all of the pleasurable sensations you feel and not think of anything that might be disturbing. All right, hang on. Let me go back to the front flap of this book. What is the recommended age group? Because there's such a difference in what is pleasurable to an 11-year-old versus never mind, not really. How stupid.
Yep.
Let's see. Awake again, you lie back in your living chamber and try to enjoy all the pleasurable things. Not think of anything disturbing. Unfortunately, within a few hours, you begin having second thoughts. You're getting increasingly restless. You're not feeling at all happy. Then, to make matters worse, pleasure inputs decline. Swimming periods are cut from 4 to 1 a day. You become increasingly upset. Once again, you hear a voice in your ears. We regret that Suprema 87 has been rejected to military attack. Most of our resources must be used to fight the war. The burden is being shared equally by everyone. No one will die before everyone dies. You shudder at this announcement. What does it mean? The pleasurable sensations by now have diminished so much that for the first time you feel a strong urge to escape. But when you try, you only fall back exhausted. They have cut your nutrients and exercise so much that you no longer have the strength to sit up. Turn to page 19.
Okay.
Holy smokes. We have another illustration here.
Okay.
Day by day, the situation grows worse. Finally, the exercise periods end completely. You feel a constant gnawing hunger because of the lack of nutrients. The lights dim. The music becomes tedious. You grow steadily weaker. It seems certain that Suprema 87 is losing the war. You lie there thinking bitterly. At least warfare is more civilized than it used to be. Suffering and death are dealt out equally. The end.
What?
This is crap! We just fade away into existence and we all die at once. That was page 19. Worst ending to any Choose Your Own Adventure book we've ever had.
Yep, page 19. There it is. All right, so, well, everyone have a very depressing Saturday.
Right, morning.
Samoflange.
Ouch.
Gonna go cry now. Let's start at the very beginning. A very good.
Don't end all that. We have to keep recording now.
Sing you begin.
No.